Green Prosthetics. I'm the CEO of Riverside Golf. I'm the CFO. And then we really don't have titles for the real estate property one.
That's okay. I totally get it. So, could you share like for one of your companies, I guess that you're part of, can you share like an overview of like one that you have partnerships in and why you created them, like who you work with, like other organizations or companies?
Like how we partner with other companies, or how the partnership within the organization, like other people?
Either or, just like in a little
Okay.
overview of like one of them, I guess.
Okay. So, because I did, I probably cover every kind of partnership that you have, but they're different at each place, if that makes sense. So I will go and say Green Prosthetics and Orthotics. So we make artificial arms and legs. One of our partnerships is with a local hospital, to where all the patients that have their legs, arms amputated at that hospital, we end up being the provider or the company that comes in to make their prosthetic.
Oh, okay, that's really cool.
And then with my other, which I think probably will apply more so to some of your questions, is my partnership with real estate is with two friends. And then my partnership with a golf course is one friend and two other people. So it's like very interesting dynamic.
Yeah, so you like work with a lot of people and then a lot of different things. I feel like you're in a lot.
For sure, because they're all like completely different animals, if
Yeah,
that makes sense.
for sure. Can you please share how your partnership, and like you could explain in all or just one,
Okay.
has advanced like your mission of your organization, or like your goal of whatever it, like for your prospect or like real estate?
Okay. So I'll give you two examples, and they'll be slightly different. So with Green Prosthetics, partnering with the hospital, what we've found over the years, that one thing that was happening is when patients had amputations, they didn't necessarily know what the next step was going to be. Like, well, how do I get a leg? Or when do I get a leg? Or will I even walk again? Kind of mentality, or not mentality, questions that they have. So when we reached out to the hospital, and kind of ended up having meetings with them to kind of go and say, hey, these patients, amputees, are kind of being lost in the shuffle, because surgeons like to do surgery. Surgeons don't like to tell a patient about how are they going to walk again, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
And that is kind of pretty dominant in healthcare, where physicians, surgeons, etc., are in their own little box and they like to do their thing.
Yeah, and they don't want to go outside.
Right. It's somebody else's issue for physical therapy. It's somebody else's issue to get them a prosthesis. There's not a lot of external teamwork when it comes to healthcare. So for us to sit down with them, it kind of helped our mission. Like, our mission with Green Prosthetics is to get as many people up and walking and back to doing the things they like to do. So by partnering with the hospital and kind of communicating that with them, we were able to, like, no patient that has an amputation at that hospital ever gets left behind.
Oh.
Now, not all of them will get a prosthetic leg or limb. But for the most part, nobody gets lost in the shuffle. And a year later, after they have an amputation, are like, well, what do I do now? Like, it happens pretty quick. So that was like a big, huge, it follows our our internal mission, as well as financially, it helps us as well.
For sure. It keeps you
Um,
guys in business for sure.
right, right. So now going back to, so different example is with the golf course. Like, I like golf, but I'm not a golfer and I know nothing about running a golf course. But we also have a restaurant and an event center, like a ballroom. Right. Again, I waited tables in college, but that's the extent of my knowledge of restaurants. So my partners, um, one of them has been in the hospitality industry for like 20 years, right? So he was familiar with, um, you know, running an inn. He worked at a restaurant in Philadelphia, et cetera, right? So I kind of joined, well, I was one of the two that kind of started the process, but it's like, for us to be successful, we needed to bring in the talent or the experience, right, to make us successful. Like,
Right.
I could probably run a restaurant, but it'd be a huge learning curve, and I
Right.
would probably make a ton of mistakes before I got it successful. To where bringing in partners with the right skill set helps you become successful faster. Does that make sense?
Yeah.